Hey, folks, we are back. We're playing Late Age Home. And, oh god, what turn is it? It is turn 52. Turn 52. Okay, let's take a look. Let's see what we got here. We got some gems from Ubar. I think we traded him fire. He is fighting TNG. So, that is what that is for. Though we're not taking sides in this war, we're just trading. And Augury, Astral Window. Okay, let's see. We're checking out all the thrones near us with Astral Window. So this one it's the Throne of Life, or the Throne of Law. So Dominion +1 order, not something we're interested in. I think we have maxed out order. Okay, we send in red, and okay, we send in a few people. We send red in to the Infinite Sea. And this is where we have the fateful battle, where we have Red and then Walter being this guy. And, yeah, they are going to hopefully kill this entire Atlantis army. Now, the thing about this is, this guy is tough enough to tank water elementals if I get body ethereal on him, which is why we had to bring Walter. And I also know that water mages are going to be on advance and cast spells, so they're going to do liquefy. Not liquefy. Like that would be horrible if they did that. They could actually kill him. His MR is not very high. They're going to do encase in ice, which is going to set me up to 30 or 40 protection, which is nice. Means we're actually not really going to take much damage, but it means we can't hit, which is why we have these things, which are going to zap the shit out of things near us. So, the spell cycle, okay, we've got, I think, Iron Skin and Strength of Gaia off already. And there goes Temper Flesh. And there goes Enlarge. And so with Enlarge, he should start regenning. No? Oh, he's already up there. Okay. So yeah, he's at, 123. I think he was at 90-something before. And there goes Encase in Ice. Immediately, basically encased. And every time he comes out, he will chop these guys, and because I think he's quickened, he comes out a little faster. Now that every time you hear that, and I don't know if you can hear it, but it's blindness. And anyway, we're gonna get blinded. Spoiler. Because let's see who's casting it. Aspect of the Seas. This guy's doing Encase in Ice. But you can see the lightning bolts kind of going to town. And meanwhile, we're at greater than max HP because of Soul Vortex. Unfortunately, if the lightning bolts don't go after the same water elemental, the water elementals will heal back up. But every once in a while, it'll hit the same one 2 or 3 times. Like this one just got knocked down a form. And of course, Soul Vortex not only heals me, but it's going to damage the guys around me. So like these guys are not full HP. You know, he's 18 out of 24. So it's going to take a while, but I'm going to go ahead and put it on super high speed. I don't know if we've been blinded yet. Yeah, okay, we've been blinded. So -9 attack, -9 defense, -9 precision. Rip swinging sword. But fortunately, we don't need to hit things with the sword. And we're just slowly zapping things to death, which is exactly what we planned to have happen. Things are going perfectly according to plan. Now he's got multiple mages doing Encase in Ice, so anyway, he's going to just be frozen for the rest of combat. And I'm going to pick up the speed here, do turbo mode, and things are just getting zapped to MF in pieces. And that was only turn 92, so we were a little close to the turn timer. But we're Berserk too, so... And I actually changed this last minute, so it's actually interesting. We probably would have routed... I'm sure we would have routed if we didn't swap this on. And I put this on like at the last minute. I wanted to have this other thing on, which was going to give him more MR, magic resistance, and kill water elementals better. And then I was like, dude, there's like a much higher likelihood that the battle's going to time out. So we did that. Some of the thinking, too, that made me like more certain the battle was going to time out was when I realized they had a shock resistance bless. I was like, shit. Anyway. Because I knew this wouldn't kill them very quickly. And we would be encased in ice and they'd be sitting there poking at me. So at the end of the battle, we are weakened, we have battle fright, and we are blind. But, and this is very important, we have routed them. And what is also important is we magic phased on top of their fort. And this is their only retreat route. And Shit-Eating Grin is here with a big, stinking shit-eating grin on his face. Look at him. Surprise! Soul Vortex. He's already done Power of the Spheres of Ghost form. Yes, send the shrimps forth. Some ghosts are up here too. Oh yes. Why this guy's so good and then they're like, he's not good enough. We're gonna give him ghosts? You guys serious? Y'all for real? So yeah, we cut off his retreat routes. Now what that means is that everybody here is dead. They are all dead. All the mages, all the little items on them. His hero, which is essentially irreplaceable. I mean, it's not a huge deal because it's not like the best hero, but you know, gone, gone, and gone. Good riddance. We found a Rune of the Earth. This is a Earth range booster, and in Dominion's Enhanced, it gives you a gem. In Vanilla, it does shit all except boost Earth range. Boost Earth range. So that's that. We've also raided on top of Atlantis in a couple spots. We've raided them here. This was just to maybe stop a turn of mage production. And unfortunately, one little guy ran past, and he's going to come back here. This guy's pretty tough, though. He's got Body Ethereal, you know, he's 20 Protection, he's got Temper Flesh, he's got Astral Shield. So one guy he can handle. His Fist of Iron. But yeah, if more got through, we would have lost him. But I figured it was safer than retreating, because I didn't have many retreat routes. And it ended up working out here, but a little risky. Okay, coming down, we have Calum trying to sneak a Conjurer out, but some imps end up getting this Conjurer. This is the fort we are sieging. Yoink. And we have a battle in the Fortress of Devourer. And I was very worried about him, like a huge mage core being in here. But it turns out there's not a lab in here. So he actually couldn't have magic phased in mages. Or maybe he could have magic phased in mages. He couldn't have gatewayed in an army. So he could have done water elemental spam, I think, still. Because, of course, there needs to be a water magic phase thing. Something that should clearly exist. Let's just make every single underwater nation in the game able to magic phase underwater. Let's just do that, because every underwater nation has water mages that I'm aware of. Let's just make sure they can all magic phase. So that's the sort of stuff I really... as I've been playing the game, there's things I like about the... Like, I think Construction 8 is cool, like, having more cool things in there, because right now it's kind of meh in vanilla. So I like that. I think they've done it too much, though. Like, some of the artifacts I think are overpowered, which is why we rushed it. But there's things about the Dominion's Enhanced I like, and then there's things I don't. Like the fact that you can magic phase all water mages underwater, I think. Let's just make sure I'm not talking out my ass. Here's the spell. Direct the waves. Create a magical water current that transports them across the sea at great speed. The stream of water will take the caster to a distant sea province. However, it cannot travel across land. Up to 3 provinces can be traversed in this manner. It can deliver the caster into enemy lands. Yeah, so this is just like basically a cloud trap piece underwater. Or teleport. So anyway. And then you have this one, which is moving basically gateway. Anyway, I see no reason. How much research? I mean, how many? Yeah, you only need to be water 2. This means literally every water mage can do it, because you just put a bracelet on them, and boom, you can now magic phase underwater. Like, how is that interesting? I don't like that at all. Anyway, I'm going to try not to bitch too much. We are playing the game. I'm having a ton of fun in it. And anyway, there we go. So where once an army was in the Infinite Sea, it is no longer. And Red is going to come back up this way. And Shit-Eating Grin is camping out here. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to storm. We're actually, especially if there's no lab in here, we're actually going to have a hard time getting him out. I might actually have to build a lab and then destroy it. Which would suck, but 500 gold to build a lab and destroy it is totally worth cutting off the retreat route and killing all these mages. These guys are expensive. They're 215 each. So if we didn't cut off this retreat route, it would have been very bad. You know, like... Yeah, I mean, this is like 1,200, 300 gold. Oh, no, more than that. Way more than... Yeah. This is almost 2,000 gold of mages. And then a lot of these had items. And then all the troops that would have retreated too. Like, I think a lot of the living pillars actually retreated. Oh no, we killed most of them. Who retreated? The Warriors of the Deep and the Coral Guard. Okay, everything but the living pillars. I was thinking these guys wouldn't have died as much because they had shock resistance. They wouldn't be targeted by the lightning thing, but apparently that's not the case. Okay. Oh, we probably got them with Soul Vortex, and they probably just had better morale, so they sat in Soul Vortex longer. Anyway, Red is moving back to a fort to reset. And we are also blood empowering Ted Jones. And this will probably be the last one we blood empower. After this, I think we're just going to do the ring of water breathing and send him underwater. There were also some events. This is kind of silly on a big map. I don't know if maybe this is balanced for smaller maps, but Vessel of Misery, you basically get a ton of stuff. Like Disease Demon Assassins and I'm trying to think what else. A fair amount of like undead chaff. Anyway, you get all those things. And in addition to that, there's a 5% chance that a unit will be healed, and it stacks. So there's a ton of these worldwide events. Potentially, the other thing is that it shows a message for it. So potentially, you know, there could be like 20 of these messages. Like, we'll just scroll through later, and it's going to be like, da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, that seems kind of dumb to me. I don't know. There's a lot I do not like about the Vessel of Misery. I think they could just remove it. First of all, it's too cheap for the number of assassins you get. The idea, I don't know. There's a bunch I don't like about it. Anyway, I'm going to try to keep this game from being things I don't like about Dominions Enhanced, which I knew nothing about before this game. But anyway, so what we're going to do here in Devour is we're going to demolish the fort. And we're going to patrol this turn because I don't think I can demolish if they also siege it this turn. Though I'm not sure. I think that's how it works. Well, we'll patrol it this turn. Next turn, we're going to start pillaging. And we're not going to stop. And then once this is pillaged, we're going to... This army right here is going to move on top of this fort. And we're going to destroy this fort. And then we're going to pillage it. There's much less to pillage here. Oh, I need to think about supplies. 226 supplies here. And this army... I think we'll actually, yeah, we'll be okay. These guys are pillaging this. All this, we're just going to completely depopulate. Here's the thing. We just killed this big army. I actually think we have a shot at killing Atlantis. Like, if Alcara goes and takes back their land stuff, if Jotunheim, who's over here, can take back their water, because they've actually lost ground in the raiding war, and if Rotterdam was going on the offensive, I think we actually have a shot at killing him. But Rotterdam is, you know, poor Rotterdam, because Rotterdam, they've had it rough. They've lost their capital. They've been fighting back really hard. I think they may have lost another fort too. Anyway, they're kind of recovering I don't know if they're going to have what it takes to push Atlantis out. They've had major defensive victories against Atlantis, but I think that was using a lot of their mage core. So I don't know about their ability, if you will, their ability to really go on the offensive. And what that means is I think I'm really the only player set up to go on the offensive. Also this turn, there is harrowing news. And the harrowing news is that in this abyss right here, which is connected, by the way, to this world, right here, Middle-Aged Atlantis has shown up. And Middle-Aged Atlantis is a very good player, and they're very big. They're the biggest water power on this planet. They are busy fighting all the other water powers on this planet. They got attacked earlier. The fuck is this? Ether Lords? Huh. They got attacked earlier on this planet. I guess these are actually really good against water elementals. I should think about getting some. I think with Ether Warriors, I probably could conquer... Can I get them yet? Yeah, 65 gems. He also has a Conjuration discount site, which is kind of bullshit. And you get an Ether Lord Commander, too. I think this actually is probably worth it, especially if you're fighting underwater. What's special about these guys is they're ethereal, and they have Moonblades, which do extra damage to magic beings, which includes elementals. So these guys, especially with protection buffs, are one of the few units that can really go toe-to-toe with water elementals. They're pretty strong, too. So... And there's other buffs you can put on them too, like quickness or other things. Like if you start buffing these Ether Warriors, they are really, really nasty against all of the elemental stuff that Atlantis might do. And they're going to be pretty good against Atlantis super combatants too, though it's probably possible to make an Atlantis super combatant that can handle them. Anyway, the important thing is that Middle-Aged Atlantis is on our planet. And us beating up Atlantis and shit-talking about it in the public chat has probably made him a little curious that, hey, maybe I could come get some land. And this player is probably very demoralized after losing to Late Age Ulm underwater. But, yeah, so they're probably... When you're demoralized, you don't play as well. That's just kind of a... Most people don't. I'm an exception. I fuel my salt is fueled by play. I mean, I can't even talk. My play is fueled by salt. So sometimes when I'm not doing well, I can think of a couple times where I've played. I mean, sometimes you get tilted and you make bad strategic decisions or non-optimal strategic decisions because of being upset. But sometimes you kind of give up. Like you stop putting a ton of energy into turns, and that's happened to me a couple times. Not very often. Anyway, one time I was in a Henom game and I got, like, somebody nap broked me and mass elfed me, and I just got really upset. It was hard for me to play. So I still did all my turns, but I just wasn't putting the kind of mental energy into it that I would have needed to have done well in that war. Anyway. But I think this player is now in deep shit. Like, the Atlantis player, he's fucked up major. Major. He never took Oceania because he's like, I'll Dom kill him, and that didn't happen very quickly, right? So he hasn't taken Oceania. He's missed out on all the gem income from that. Meanwhile, before he finished taking it, he started attacking Rotterdam, who, by the way, with Foul Vapors and Skelly Spam underwater, he can't take forts from. And now he's got Octo Thugs running around. You can see a transformed octopus here. So, yeah. That's a thing. And he picked a fight with me because he's like, well, you don't get a right to have any underwater stuff. I will literally pour all of the salt and military might I can from this entire continent into underwater if it means I have to keep this. Keeping this land around England is a win condition for me. Like, I'm not going to let an underwater nation set up camp in this land where everything is coastal. Eventually I might. When my military strength is so immensely powerful, I don't really care. It may not be worth my time. But at the same token, by that point in the game, like, I'll have even more resources to kill these guys. So anyway, that's that. Anyway, he's in a very bad position because he's now picked a fight with me. The original borders, by the way, all these 5 provinces here were his, right? This was not mine, this was not mine, this was mine, and this was mine. And I was like, I'll leave him all of this. So he's been down land. The land has been permanently damaged. We've taken this fort. We're going to destroy it. We're going to pillage it. Yeah, we're going to burn it to the ground. Fuck these frogs. There'll be nothing left. But this is the thing. Like, I made a threat. And when you make threats, they need to be credible. And I was pretty certain I could deliver. With the underwater items in DE, I knew it wouldn't be efficient. I knew my god might die. I didn't care. He's going to get the hell out of my lands. And I think I backed it up. And I think in our messages, like our Discord messages, I was like, look, it's important that we fight now because we can never have peace as long as you don't think I deserve the underwater. So, like, if you believe I can't keep it and I don't deserve it, then we should fight. Because that's your belief. The problem is your belief is mistaken. I do deserve it. And I'm going to make this so not worth your time that it's going to just be extremely painful for you. But you don't know that now. Like, you just don't. So I'm going to have to educate you. And hopefully I have not only educated him, but perhaps I've educated you a little bit. This, in my opinion, is how you deal with underwater nations. You Bane Venom Charm the shit out of them, you raid their stuff, you destroy their forts, you burn the land to cinders with pillaging. And I've done this before in another game. So this isn't my first rodeo doing this. And then once you've done that enough, yeah, okay, you know, we can have peace. Because now he knows I don't want any more of this. Whatever this was that I poked, like this beehive that I poked, I don't want to poke it anymore. I'm done. And I told him before I did it, I was like, dude, like nothing personal, but this is, in my opinion, like what the things I'm going to do are the things that I think are necessary to fight underwater. And you're going to think I'm angry with you personally. I'm not. But it's going to be, I'm doing this so that we can have long-term peace. Anyway, this is how you build long-term peace with underwater. Here's the thing, they have to respect you. And this underwater player did not respect me. They did not think I was capable of holding underwater from them. They didn't think I deserved the underwater. They basically had zero respect at all for me. And until you fix that, then you're never going to get underwater stuff. I mean, you don't have a right to hold it. So anyway, I hope we've demonstrated that. In fact, the underwater on our planet has been getting their ass kicked. Relay has gotten their ass kicked by Vanheim. Atlanta's getting their ass kicked by me. Now, all of this to say, we do have a problem with middle-aged Atlantis on here. And the problem is, while Atlantis has proven to be a not very good neighbor, middle-aged Atlantis I do not want them as a neighbor because I don't think they're much stronger. They're a better player, I think. Or like a more experienced player. I don't want to say better, but yeah, like the biggest player in the game, yes, I think they're the person who got them into the game. So, you know, go do some math from that. Anyway, we don't want them here. And Atlantis is our best tool to keep them from coming here. So I'm thinking maybe, I don't know, one thing, the more we beat up Atlantis, the more they're going to come through here. And at some point, even if we're wildly successful, we'll have pushed Atlantis back and then we'll have some border with middle-aged Atlantis. And then he's going to be like, oh, well, what are these land nations doing underwater? And then we have to go teach him the same goddamn lesson, except he's a better player and it's going to be a lot harder to teach that lesson to. But I'll do it all the same. I'll burn shit to the ground. I will raid him. I will Bane Venom Charm him. I will do all the things until he leaves me alone. But that said, you know, like, do I really have a claim to all this water? I don't know. That's going to be really hard for a nation like Late Age Home to hold. It's possible if we just mass recruit decent troops like Shamblers. I mean, these guys aren't great, but they're not horrible. You know, it's possible we can fight him underwater with, if we have all better buffs than he does. We can figure out a way, but it's not something I want to figure out. What I would much rather do is have Atlantis fuck off, this early age Atlantis, leave me alone, and come down here and fight these guys. Keep them off our planet, and not ever come back up past Spain again. I'm not even sure if I'm going to give this back to him, but I don't even care. This fort, in case I do end up giving it back, we're going to go ahead and destroy the fort. And we're going to pillage. Though maybe we pillage... Oh, man, this is actually the perfect province to pillage. Because this is a choke point to this whole region. So if we get here and we pillage this literally to 0, I probably need like a supply item. But if we can do that... Yes. We're going to destroy... I don't need these forts. Like, this fort doesn't give me anything. It gives me a small % income boost. Fuck that. We're destroying it. But we might focus our pillaging energies over here. And that's because this will be a 0 supply province people have to march armies through. So it's going to mean he now has to additionally do supply items, which will just increase his losses, because every time we kill his army now, it's going to be an army with supply items. So I think maybe we pillage here, and then this can be a province he gets back. This province has decent sites. I don't know if I want to give these back to him. We'll see. I'll probably just raid as deeply as I can, and that way when we negotiate peace and I give him something back, it probably won't be any of this stuff. I'm not sure if I'm going to pillage it, though. I am not sure. I think we're going to pillage for now. Just for effect. If this is ours in the long term, I don't think... I mean, I'm kind of saying conflicting things. On one hand, I'm saying we're going to pillage it because I don't think I can hold this in the long term. On the other hand, I'm saying I will fight to whatever is needed to keep this land. But that doesn't really include this. This stuff, if I have a nice underwater neighbor, I would take it, but I kind of want it out of greed. To like collect income from it. So we'll see. I think we're going to pillage this for sure. That's the thing I know. We're going to destroy these forts for sure. Anyway, these are the things I spend time thinking about. Should we destroy this fort? Should we pillage it? Yeah, I think that's basically it for the turns. One thing I didn't cover last episode is like the artifact forging shenanigans. So we got... we got the Record of Creation, which is this spell here. There's actually a weird thing, too. I had it on this guy, and I clicked cast, and when I took it off, it didn't go away. So he still got this spell, even though he doesn't have the book. And I don't know if it's actually going to work. I tried doing it in a test game after that happened. I was like, is this a bug? And I couldn't recreate it. And like, if I take it off this guy, I don't think it's going to... I think it stays... It's going to, like... See, it goes away. So I don't know why it didn't go off that other dude. I'm going to see if it actually works, though. And then I'm going to make the ethical decision of, should I... if it works, it's kind of an exploit. I mean, it doesn't matter if I do it to one province, but I just want to see what happens. I'm curious. I probably won't do it again. Though, immediately site searching all my lands perfectly would be amazing. But I think this would clearly qualify as an exploit if I did that everywhere. But anyway, we're gonna do it one place just to see what happens. And I also cannot, like, literally can't recreate it. I have no idea why or how it happened. I don't know if it had to do with having units on him, or that he's in a cave, or that there were two people casting things. We have the stone of, or the cornerstone. The sites the places we've done so far, we've done this one. We've done this one. So this is giving me Jade. I've got a shit ton of Jade Amazons now, whereas before I was getting like none. I'm getting one a turn. One a turn's a lot. This we're going to probably do next, and this is going to give us access to the Enchanter every other turn, which is a great unit. I'm kind of wondering if we do Auspex or Haru specs like here, because this is a forest site. It's probably worth looking higher nature. Anyway, so we're going to build it here. Then I think after that, we're going to do it here or yeah, here. But this is the one we're doing this turn. This is the province that connects all the way to Ubar. So we want to go ahead and get it forted up, and I'll probably will upgrade this. We're also going to probably do a mine here, like the magical mine, which I think we're casting over here this turn. Cast magic mine. This is an expensive spell. It's 50 earth gems. 50 earth gems, and it gives you 4 earth gems a turn. So it actually pays itself back pretty quickly. It'll pay itself back in like 11 turns. So, well, not quite 11, like 12 turns. So it's pretty nice. And then you also get some gold, which is cool. You do get attacked by dwarves, which is not excellent, but we'll suffer it. But if I get both of those cast, which is 100 gems, I'm going to have +8 earth income for the rest of the game. That's actually huge for me. That's actually a really big deal. So we're going to cast that. I don't have any more. You have to cast it in a cave, and I have no more caves. Anyway. That is that. That is that. Okay, what else? So we made the record of creation. We have started now our vampire production. We have not claimed this turn, though, so I'm not getting this discount. So this is actually costing me 100 slaves to do Curse of Blood, which is going to give me a Vampire Lord. So it's the price is increased from vanilla, which kind of sucks. But we're going to need Vampire Lords to do the real thing. Here's how to think about it. These Vampire Lords, which I get from Curse of Blood, they're 99 slaves. They are going to be the factories. And the things that the factories are going to produce are these, Curse of Vampirism. So a Vampire Lord is going to be Death 3, Blood 3. I throw a Blood Thorn on him, and he can do Curse of Vampirism. And this is the thing that I think we talked about in the national overview. We're going to get some ghouls, which is nice. We're going to get some thralls, which is nice. We're going to get a Vampire Mage Commander, which does not summon thralls, so that's a little sad. And we're going to get 1d6, that's 3.5 vampire units on average. Importantly, we also get some death gems and some blood slaves on the Vampire Mage Commander. And when you factor in the value of those, so first of all, this spell is going to go from 75 slaves down to minus 21 about, so it's going to be about 50, probably like 53 with the rounding. So yeah, it'll be about 53 slaves, and then we're probably going to get like 5, maybe like 4 or 5 slaves back on average, just because they're going to be on the commander. So that'll bring it down to like 40, 48 or something slaves to cast. And then we're going to get like 4-ish death gems on average. So it's basically a way to turn blood slaves into death gems. And when you factor those in at a rate of like 2 to 1, it brings us down to like 40 slaves to get a Vampire Mage Commander and some vampires. And these guys will be effective raiders. Like just one squad of the Mage Commander plus dudes will be pretty darn effective in a raid. Like hold and attack rear will snipe the shit out of PD, and if they die, who cares? If they die, who cares? So that's this is what I think we're going to pour all of our blood slaves into. And it's going to give us a bunch of death gems, which I think will influence what we should do next for research. We already are really ready to use these guys. Like, big squads of them, once I get a lot, we'll lead with the Vampire Lord, and we can cast Darkness, which I already have. Yeah, these guys will be good against Ubar if I fight Ubar. They're not going to be great against Nazca. They'll be okay. Because Nazca has Suppliers who have magic weapons and dust to dust and stuff, but I think in sufficient quantity, they'll be fine. But Nazca's also producing a ton of shit. But we're going to get Thumb 5 so I can Soul Slay, and then I kind of want to get Mind Hunt up. I can already do Send Lesser Horror. I really need to be preparing... This is thing when you get to this point in the game, you, like, get complacent. And you're like, oh, I'm big, and like, I'm not in any wars, I like all my neighbors. You know, like, I like Rotterdam a lot, the player. I like Alcara a lot. I like Kaelasa a lot. I like... I like Vanheim a lot. Like, I like all my neighbors. They're really friendly. They would probably be friendly with me for a long time. I'm a big, scary nation. They probably don't want to fight. You can get complacent. Unfortunately, in a game like this, complacency is death. So we're going to have to do a fight. And I've been hand-wringing about what I should do, and I'm not totally sure. But the important thing, I think, when I'm thinking about these research priorities is I need to make a decision. And when I make a decision about who I'm going to fight, I need to think about what is the tech that, if I have it, will allow me to win that war in a one-sided fashion. Quickly, decisively, etc. And just go with it. So, like, if I'm fighting Vanheim, which in some ways I think is the best move, what is the thing that's going to allow me to beat Vanheim? Well, one of those actually is Darkness and Vampires. They'll do very well, because the Vampires... We know Vanheim has Fog Warriors. Yeah, we can already do Weapons of Sharpness. So, our guys, I mean, even just our Ghoul Guardians right now, he also has Phoenix Pyre on his Monolith, which is hilarious. But there's a bunch of things we'll have to deal with, but I think we mostly have the tools we need right now to have a war, but we don't have enough troops and Ghoul Guardians and stuff to win it decisively. Like, one thing I could do is get all the Death 2 vampires I get from Curse of Vampirism, send them to my capital and have them make Ghoul Guardians, so I roll into Vanheim with like a few hundred, like a couple hundred Ghoul Guardians. And that would just murder his stuff. The problem is he could Wrathful Skies it or do some other... There's maybe some cheese I'm not thinking of, right? So that's a thing. Army of Gold actually not very good. So like running high up Alteration, not going to be super good against Vanheim because he can do Wrathful Skies. Especially if I do Army of Gold, I'm sure he would do that. Alt 7, actually pretty nice, because Fog Warriors, Mass Protection is actually going to be pretty good here. What is this? Oh, doesn't affect undead, inanimate, and doesn't affect friendly. Causes starvation. Huh. Well, morale plays aren't going to be good against him. This is basically a morale play. That Lanka can also do. That seems extremely balanced. Take Lanka, you get Alt 7, and now you can do morale plays in conjunction with Blood. I mean, oh my god. Can you imagine adding this on top of Reign of Blood and Wailing Winds? Like, why does this need to be in the game? I don't know. And let's give it to the nation that is already the king of morale plays, Lanka. So, anyway, Mass Protection will help, because I don't think he has much fire magic. I guess Phoenix Pyre would hurt a bit more. But that would be good. Fog Warriors be a little helpful, especially if we're running in with a boatload of wolves. Death, I don't think there's much at 7. Bone Grinding, which my god actually could do. That would actually be kind of funny. Because my god can get up. This is Death 7 to cast. My god, with Power of the Spheres, we're moving him over here. He's going to go claim this throne this next turn. With Power of the Spheres, he will get up, and Hell Power, he will get up to Death 9, which means he can cast it for 30 fatigue. So I think, and I have to empower him in Blood a couple more times, my god actually can go someplace and then Bone Grinding 3 times. So that's kind of cool. The other thing is, and I'm going to pause it real quick while I look up the spell, is when we do this special thing with this throne in our god, we get stealth. I'm going to go look up that spell. Okay, it was right under my nose. It's right here. So release Throne Power. You have to be Earth 4 to cast it. And basically the way it works is The spell must be cast at the site of a throne of Ascension, and the Pretender God must be present in the province. The power gained will vary depending on the throne used for the ritual. The ritual requires long and careful preparations and will not be successful if cast while the province is under siege. If cast at a province other than the site of a throne, or if the Pretender God is not present, the spell will fail and the gems will be wasted. The power can be gathered once at each possible site. And I don't exactly know how this works. I read a little bit on it, but the Pretender I don't think has to cast it themselves. Somebody else can cast it on their behalf, but they have to be there. So we have an air version, we have an earth version, and I think there's an astral version. And I think that's it. I don't think there's other versions. So astral's probably the easiest for me, but if I do it at this throne, I get stealth. In addition to, I think, some experience and other things, which is nice, because my guy does not, even though he's killed a shit ton, he doesn't get experience, because he's mindless. But he does get experience from stuff like this. So that'll be kind of cool for him to get a few experience stars. Anyway, he's going to come over here, claim the Throne of Ascension. I have to make a decision. Is it really worth it? It probably is worth it for me to go to Thom 6 for this. I don't know if there's anything else at Thom 6 that I want. Everybody can cast Dreams of Relay? Weird. Very weird. This is a really strong spell. Awaken Magical Being. You become an innate caster. This would actually be really good on my god, which I would have to empower him in nature. Oh, no, but... Oh, you have to be magical to start with. My god, I do not think is magical. I think it is just undead. I don't see any magical being tags, which is kind of good, because magical being is a bad tag. Potentially... Oh, you know what I want to see? I think the artifact we're making this turn... I have so much to talk about, guys. I have so much to talk about. The artifact we're making this turn is the Shard of Salamaria. Solomoria. And this is going to summon this big-ass lion dude that is Astral 5. And he's also, I think, Air in Nature 3. So, but having him, the question is, how can I have more of them? And the answer is the same as with the Iraq dude. It's through Twiceborn. All the Become Giant, all the transformation spells don't work, but Twiceborn works. So anyway, we can get this dude. We empower him in death. So the difference is for the Iraq dude, and why I wanted to get it, is this guy, we don't have to empower in death. We just cast Twiceborn, which is expensive as shit. It's 30 death gems, okay? So 30 death gems, we Twiceborn this guy, and then we can have him go die, and we get more of these super cool units. Which I think is a bargain, but it's not game-breakingly cheap, and I can only do it like every 3 or 4 turns. So it's really good, but it's not super duper duper good. The Shard of Salamaria is actually, in some ways it's better, in some ways it's worse. It's better because it gives me an Astral 5, and Astral 5s are very, 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 very rare. They're very rare. And one thing we're going to test, actually, is I'm going to load up this test game where we're going to do this. Because I don't actually know. I'm wondering, what had me wondering when I look at that, is those are paths that are available on Solomoria. The astral in nature to do Empower Magical Being. I probably have to okay, we're researched. So here you can see I've done it on this guy. We empowered him in death. We put a skull or some death booster on him, and then he can cast it. Where's Solomoria now? I don't see him. You can see we've been tinkering around. Here I was trying to figure out, like, after that bug happened, I was like, how do I get it to happen again? Like, is it a thing? Is that like a thing? But every time I take it off, it doesn't... I have no idea why that works. Or it doesn't work. Anyway. I think we have to summon him again, and I don't know where I put... Okay, 1 second. I don't think he's amphibious. I probably have to move the golem over here. And this is the golem. The thing is, a lot of these are tainted, so you want to keep them on a mindless unit. And so anyway, we're keeping them on a golem in this test game. And I'm keeping them on the golem in the real game, too. All right, so this is Solomoria. He's a huge badass. I like the sprite for this a lot, too. Even though you can barely see it. But he's Astral 5, Nature 3. Now, what I'm wondering is he's not innate caster. He does have magic attunement, or like magic power. But I'm wondering if we do this, because I think he is a magic being. Yeah. I'm wondering if we do this if it transfers over. I'm kind of thinking it might. He can do it to himself, but he can do it on any magical being. Awaken magical being. Oh, wait, no, empower magical being is what I want. Where I thought it was here. Okay, this makes you a commander. Reform. One sec, I'm going to pause. All right, I have looked it up, and it is a spell that is higher in thaumaturgy. It's Music of the Spheres, and it's expensive. So we're going to try this, see if it works. So we're going to cast Music of the Spheres. I have no idea if this is going to work. But this could potentially give me a super duper badass dude. Okay, so he is now an innate caster. If he dies, he will come back with this trait. I'm pretty certain about that. What I'm not certain about is if I empower him in death. Do I have a death booster? Let's make sure I have a Ring of Wizardry. Okay, so we've empowered him in death. We now are going to stick on him one of these things. So he's death 2, so he can now do Twiceborn. And I do not believe he has water breathing. He does not. So we're just going to send him on a little trip underwater. And the question is, will he come back with innate caster? And the answer is he does. Ooh. He gained a magic path in death, too. Ooh. That is very interesting to me. That is very interesting. How about that? That is very strong. Unfortunately, I can't think of a way to get... Oh my god. I would lose all the... So I don't think this is something for my god, but it could be something for this. Like, this is a tippy-top-end chassis. Could do master and slave bullshit, full slots. I mean, and I have Stealthy Astral. So I could set up a trap where I have a bunch of guys set up to be communion slaves. And he just goes and absolutely wrecks everybody with master and slave. So that's something that could work. I don't know. We're going to go back to the game now. So we now know that that will work. What we do not know is how much of a trap is it? Like, is it worth... Because this spell I would need to do that, I need to cast before I do Twiceborn. But, I mean, I could do it later. When, like, I can make multiple copies of this guy. But, like, is there anything that terribly is good up here that's going to allow me to win fights? Ooh, ritual range +1. That's actually pretty darn useful. Magic scales +2. Enemy MR for enemies in the province -2. Oh my god, you could set up some crazy ass traps with this. Ritual range +1. I think I actually would want to cast this, by the way, just as a random side note. Here, where I'm dropping flames from the sky, Nazca's kind of cleared out, and I'm not sure where most of their guys are. We can't target this province, so we're going to target this province. It only has 120 dudes. Whatever. We'll hit them wherever we can. They haven't said anything in game chat about it, and I'm keeping my mouth shut. But Yeah, let's look at the other things in thaumaturgy and see if there's any reason we want to go deeper into it. Because we're going up to 5 at a minimum. We may go up to 6 to get the claim throne thing, or the release power, which is right here. We get apotheosis at 7, which is actually really nice. Really, really nice. Because it means we can basically... Like, that innate caster dude is actually probably who I would want to do this on. I was going to do it on one of the versions of the Iraq, but it would be better to do it on the other guy. Then we have Ether Drain. Okay, basically cast Drain on a province. I don't know about that. Divine Name, maybe. Immaterial Army. Only affects magic beings, and it makes them ethereal. I don't really have magic stuff, but that would be cool otherwise. Suppressed Descent. Kind of interesting. Not something I'm going to cast. I don't want to help other people with their unrest. Ooh, Soul Collector. This is a reason. This is the Death Gym Gen introduced by Bozmos. And I'm going to say this because we've updated the mod now so that, or he's going to update it, I hope. So that this exploit is taken out. But basically it's a guy that has the scythe that if you kill somebody with it, you get a death gem. So you can get like 30 death gems a turn on a dude, which is obviously really good for a 40 death gem unit. The exploit is basically if you enter a trading agreement with somebody like me has wolves and they're like, hey, I'll let you kill them if I get half of the cut. And I just send wolves in and I could basically turn one wolf into death gems. Other nations can do it like Nazca. There's a bunch of nations that have some kind of free spawn. And yeah, this basically is an infinite gem production thing. Because you would get so many gems a turn from this, doing it that way. If you don't use it like that, it's not really an exploit. If you just run around and raid, you'll get, like 4 or 5 gems a turn. But if you do it like this, and there's a chance they die. The thing about how, if you have some arrangement set up, is the guy will never die, so it's not risky. The whole risk of using this unit is taken out, and you get literally more gems than you could ever use. So if the exploit is allowed in the game, which the guys who made the mod and I have decided it's not allowed, we're not going to do it. And if we notice anybody doing it, then we're going to tell them to stop or get out of the game. So, but that being said, Soul Collector still is an interesting option. Still is an interesting option for us. In that just doing the normal thing and raiding with it, we could probably recoup our gem investment and then maybe make some. The problem doing it is the guy could die pretty easy. I don't know. My thing is like raiders are meant to die. Like if you're using somebody as a raider versus a good player, it is very easy to kill it. But this is definitely a reason to consider coming all the way down. Like this and Apotheosis are definitely reasons to consider coming down this far. Charm is also kind of nice since I have some nature mages I can now use. And Plague can also be good in a pinch. Vortex of Returning actually is really good. There's bullshit I can do with Vortex of Returning and with Call Horror, which I think I already have researched. Yeah, it's Blood 6. So basically I can call a shit ton of horrors into combat and then Vortex of Returning my mages out. And now you have to fight like 10 horrors. Good luck. So that's some bullshit we can do. That would be extremely strong on the defensive. Not as good on the offensive. But this is all like late game. And I've never heard of anybody doing this exactly before. A Vortex of Returning horror trap. I think I may have invented it, even though we haven't actually done it yet in the game. Possible other people. I know people do horror things and like horror bombs, but I've never heard of people doing it with Vortex of Returning, which is the real zinger, because this gets all of your mages out alive, though possibly horror marked. Anyway, that's a reason to come. I'm trying to think what else. Gain Master Ritualist. Huh. I mean, this could be a way to become higher in Astral for casting things like Wish. So not horrible. Do I have to... I don't see anything about magic beings or anything. Anyway, Divine Name, Immaterial Army. Okay, I think we've looked at most of the things here. Pyre of Rebirth. Probably won't be doing that. Okay, Magic of the Fae. Because this is what the level we would maybe need to get to. Because this is where we have... Wait, isn't this it? I thought it was 8. Yeah, Music of the Spheres. So we potentially could cast Galegate. I don't think that will be fought over. We could probably get our gem investment back very quickly. Become an air power. Magic of the Fae. Pandemonium. I mean, that could be good. That's a spell we could cast. Releases a great quantity of fire magic. Ignites terrible rage in many beasts. Doesn't affect friendly. Will attack anything even nearby. This might murder Vanheim. This could also wreck the birds. MR... Is it MR? Yeah, MR easily negates. So you might have to cast it a few times. But I could also do Pin Gear on my Fire Mage. MR easily negates is not great, though. With a strong will, with a low will, you can resist it. Anyway. So anyway, that's a... We wouldn't come here for this, but it's something we could use. Hydrophobia. Oh wait, this is an area of effect thing. And coming down here, Black Death. This actually is kind of crazy good. And we could potentially, it's a long range, and if we do it from our, you can target underwater. So we could potentially hit Yis's capital and Yis's second capital with this. And we could hit it twice, and that will potentially cut down Morvark Knight production. So that's the thing. The thing is, if we put this up and we're the person that has Galegate up, then he's going to know it's us, because he'll know we have high thaumaturgy. So we'll have to see. But we could cast it. We could cast it at somebody we don't care about, like Atlantis. You put this on their cap, it kills half the population. It's kind of stupid, actually. I don't really like it. But versus Yis with Morvarks, it could be worth it. Fate of the Corruptor. This attacks people with AC up. Soul Drain, our god could maybe do if we did more empowering, so like rings or something. I'm not sure. Worm that Walks is pretty good. And Brew Panacea. I don't actually know how that works. And then Beast Mastery. So I rate this as like not great. This is like kind of greedy coming here, but I wanted to think about it. It would be pretty badass to have Music of the Spheres on a Solomoria dude that I've also apotheosized so that he's a demigod. And he can run around doing master enslavement, and if he dies, I get to have him back. He can also... Oh no, he can't do Wind of Death. I don't know, it seems pretty good. Do we do it? That is the question. That is a question. I mean, we'd be giving up on a lot of other things. If we're really going to be attacking with vampires, I don't need a ton. I mean, I think Alt 7 I need. This is going to help me a lot underwater. This is... Just having mass protection and fog warriors can dramatically change the outcome of fights. I think this is an absolute must. After that, I think I have some space for luxuries. We could go Evocation 6, which will give us some options to do a bunch of different things, including Mind Hunt, which would be really good if I'm fighting Vanheim. After that, maybe we go to 8. I'm going to put this in for now. We may change it. I feel like this is greedy. But I don't know. now I want to, okay, we're going to talk a little bit more about artifacts. And I know we've been rambling on and on. This kind of like a podcast in a way this time, because there's not hardly anything that's happened this time. We're just talking about the game. So the player playing Yes has been like, this turn he announced to the game, hey guys, I have bad news. Apparently, a lot of people have all hit Construction 8 on the same turn. And they were like, you know, because, and I was like, how do you know how many people have hit it at the same turn? And he said, well, it's because I had Construction 8 last turn, and I got it this turn. And I mean, I had it last turn, and then I looked at it again this turn, and I could see how many artifacts were forged. And there were 6 artifacts that were forged. And there were none that were forged before, which is a lie, because you've been watching me. We've been forging artifacts the whole time. So he misread the previous turn and like didn't look at it correctly or whatever, didn't see them all. Because there are a shit ton of artifacts forged before, because I think I'm the only one that's forged them. So he thinks there's like 1 million people making artifacts every turn, which is actually great, because it's going to disincentivize other people from going Construction 8. And he doesn't want to forge. He tried to make an artifact this last turn, and he bumped it with the other person, which was me. And I think he was trying to make the Atlas of Creation, and I think he bumped it with me, and mine won, which is just luck. But anyway, he doesn't want to keep doing that. He's going to make cheap artifacts for now, is what he said. And it kind of makes sense, because if you actually think there's like 8 other players making artifacts and you make an expensive one, like there's a decent chance you bump and lose all your investment. But if there's only 2 players, me and Yes, who have Construction 8, then it's actually not a big risk. Especially if that other player thinks there's a lot. So we're actually going to go ahead and make the Shard of Salamaria. But why do I say this? Well, the other players were like, yeah, if I really want an artifact, I'm just going to wish for it later. Which is true. And that's one of the things I've been worried about. Like this flame staff, that's why I want to be very careful targeting Yes, because he'll probably yoink it from me. I can yoink it back from him, but which I think you have to do. If somebody yoinks it from you, I think you just, on principle, you have to yoink it back. Anyway, we'll see. But the what am I saying? What am I even saying? Yeah, he thinks that there's a bunch of players making it. So anyway, that's kind of good, because it's going to give us a little bit more air cover to get more artifacts out. And so far, I haven't seen, and I've looked briefly, I haven't seen any more artifacts that got made that I didn't forge. So that's really nice. The artifacts that we have left that we want to forge, we'll talk about them real quick. One is the Shard of Salamaria. The other is this one, the Amulet of Power. I actually want this one a lot. I don't think this one's going to be fought over a ton, but I want it a lot. The other thing I want a lot is this, the Friendship Hat, basically. And I need to figure out whether I really want to put the Friendship Hat on my god. I think I do, but the problem is if I get an innate caster, Astral 5 dude, it may be better to put it on him. Well, I can put a different hat on them. There's the little crown you can stick on them too. So I think the Friendship Hat will be for my god. But we want to make... The Friendship Hat will probably be next, after the Shard of Salamaria, because the Shard of Salamaria, getting access to an Astral 5 is a really big deal. That's one... It's not... It's kind of game-winning. Not game-winning, but it's enabling, right? It allows me... Otherwise, it would be a huge pain in my ass. I'd have to, like, empower twice to cast Wish. And it'd be on a shittier chassis and this, that, and the other. So getting access to an Astral 5 is a big deal. So that's what we're going to be doing this turn. After that, probably that Astral, this little thing. After that, probably the Hyporian Stone. And then, but that guy, that is the only one I haven't figured out how to transform and mass produce. The Eric Amulet, we can transform him and mass produce him cheaply, or relatively cheaply, only for 30 death gems. The Shard of Salamaria guy, it's going to cost us the 50 gems to empower and 30 gems to Twiceborn. So mass producing this guy costs 80 gems, 80 death gems, which I don't want to mass produce that. It's too expensive. But I probably want a couple Astral 5, so I'll probably make 2 of them. which is expensive. That's going to be like a shit ton of death gems. This is like most of my death gems right now. But I think it's worth it, so we're going to do it. Probably to get 2 so that I have, like I could have 2 wish casters later. And then one of those we'll probably empower and do silly things with. Or do the music of the spheres and do silly things with. Anyway, that's that. After that, there's a bunch more things that I want, but I think they're like lower. They're not going to win the game for me. But like, if we look at the last thing we're going to do this episode is we're going to look at graphs. So province graph, we kind of had massive growth, and then we've kind of been at peace. We're kind of stagnating. I really have to force myself to go to a war. And I think that war, I'm torn between Vanheim and Nazca. I need to talk to Abyssia. If Abyssia has killed a bunch of this stuff, or if Relay has killed a bunch of this stuff, we're going to go after Vanheim. If they haven't, and if Vanheim also is winning heavily against Abyssia, I might have to go after him too. But if they haven't, I think I want to go after Nazca. But I have to get way more troops up here. Maybe I should go... I think I should go after Vanheim, guys. Thing is, I don't even know who to zap with this Flames from the Sky bullshit. And it's not very good against Vanheim, because if we look at Vanheim's units, they're going to be... There's a bunch of bullshit we have to deal with Vanheim too. But yeah, they're going to be 1.5 times 3 plus 5. They're going to be about 20 HP. They're not really going to die of Flames from the Sky. We can maybe kill Svartalvs in his capital, or his dwarves, which would annoy him to no end. Just hit his cap twice with it. Like, hey, surprise. He actually might think it's Abyssia because he's fighting them. That'd actually be... I wonder if I can even target his capital. We don't have the range booster on him now because I had to take the range booster off to do something else. 5. We can when we have... We're making a lens, an arcane lens. That and the Tomb of Power will be able to hit it. But until then, no. But if I cast it twice at his capital, there's a decent chance... Vanheim players tend to have all their dwarves in their capital. And they tend to make a fair number of dwarves. And their dwarves are going to have hammers. And if we just hit his capital twice with Flames from the Sky, the first round, the dwarves will all have hammers, and they're going to be making shit. So we'll kill probably a lot of hammers. The second time, if he's smart, he'll take the hammers off and move the dwarves. We'll still hit the dwarves, because they'll be leaving, but they can't leave before magic phase. But we won't kill hammers. So anyway, I think it's a worthwhile thing to do. We'll probably inflict some other incidental friendly or fire on other kind of units he's got there. He's been patrolling his capital every turn. So, yeah, that's basically what... I think we have to fight them. I wanted to go after Nazca, and I think I might still... If I don't have anything better to do, we're just going to zap them, which normally is not a good way to play. Like, normally you don't want to piss... The risk of pissing off a neighbor is more than the benefit of keeping them down. But I don't think he has any reason to figure it's me. Though if Vanheim and him both have been hit by it, the common denominator, they may figure out his proximity to me. Because he can see my flags here and all this. So we'll have to see. But if Nazca, I can probably fight both of them at the same time. I'm feeling pretty strong right now. Nazca is biggest on the army graph, though, by a lot. But I think we do this. If I kind of need vampires or ghoul guardians. Ghoul guardians would do good too. I think I need to start mass producing ghoul guardians. So I think what we're going to do, here's my plan. We're not going to be ready to attack for probably like 5 or 6 turns. We could, but I don't know if I want to. I think I want to have Mind Hunt, which is going to... Yeah, we're going to have Alt 7. This is going to help me underwater. We're going to have Mind Hunt, which is going to just be horrifically good. We're going to need to make scouts and then get our Send Lesser Horror factory going and then get intense raiding going on in his lands with Send Lesser Horror. Our death mages are going to go to our capital and they're going to start spending our death gems on ghoul guardians, because ghoul guardians are going to just, absolutely wreck Vanheim dudes. So I think we're going to do that. We're going to get them. My god, meanwhile, will have the gear he needs to kill. I think I think with Hell Power and Power of the Spheres and the penetration booster and the friendship hat, I don't think the Vanheim dudes can kill him, because I might also have to Earth Empower him. I'm not sure. But there's the weird protection stacking things which will take effect, and he'll be at like 25, 26 protection, which with Soul Vortex going, I think will be enough. And he'll be charming them every turn. I don't know. I think that's what we do. I think we prepare for a war with Vanheim. And probably like 3 turns or 4 turns I end the nap, and then we go. Problem is that's a lot longer to sit stagnant. And things could go really south for Abyssia in that time. But I think Abyssia has been doing an okay job on dealing with thugs. So anyway, we'll find out. But that's basically the plan. I know it was a lot of talking with not a ton of action. The last thing I'll say in closing is I'm thinking about next turn maybe knocking Atlantis off of Oceania's cap, which would... There's a monolith in here. And so the monolith could either patrol, or it could attack things, or like do different stuff. He kind of wants out of the game, too. This is not helping him by knocking the thing off, but it'll at least give him stuff he can do. But yeah, I think that's basically it. Thank you guys who have made it to the end for sticking through. I hope the rambling wasn't completely boring to you, but these are just the inner musings of a slightly insane dude, and I will see you all next time.